Imagine this. You're out at your peaceful lake cabin, hoping for a quiet weekend away from the noise of the world. But instead of calm, you get an unexpected and terrifying knock on your door. It's not who you think, because the homeowners association, or HOA, sent what looked like cops to come after you. But here's the twist. They weren't real officers. Fake cops, sent to hunt me down. Sounds crazy, right? Well, this wasn't just some weird prank. It was a serious showdown between me, the HOA, and the law. I had no idea things were about to spiral into something much bigger than just a property dispute. For weeks, the HOA had been pushing hard, sending letters, making threats, trying to control every little thing about my cabin. They wanted me gone. But when they decided to send these imposters posing as officers, I knew this was no ordinary conflict. It felt like I was caught in some kind of wild game, and they were trying to trap me. But here's where it gets even more intense. What they didn't know was that I wasn't alone. Real police officers were waiting, ready to step in at the perfect moment. The fake cops walked right into a trap, and things got way more complicated than anyone expected. If you've ever wondered, what happens when an HOA crosses the line and tries to play dirty with fake law enforcement? This story is for you. Stay with me, because in the next part, I'll take you through how this entire nightmare unfolded, what the real cops found, and how it all ended. You won't believe the lengths some people will go to when they want to push you out. But trust me, the best is yet to come. Before all of this chaos, my lake cabin was supposed to be my sanctuary, a place to escape from work, city noise, and just breathe. I bought the place a few years ago, thinking it was the perfect spot to relax and enjoy nature. But living in a community with a strict homeowners association came with rules I didn't fully understand at first. At first, it was small things. A warning about the type of mailbox I had, a note about trimming my trees. I thought, okay, no big deal. But then the demands got heavier. They wanted me to remove a deck I'd built, said it wasn't approved. I tried to talk to them, but every conversation felt like hitting a brick wall. The HOA board, led by a few powerful neighbors, seemed more interested in controlling than helping the community. Rumors started to swirl about why they really wanted me gone. Maybe they didn't like that I wasn't part of their little group, or that I refused to pay some of their extra fees. Whatever the reason, it felt personal. When I pushed back, the letters became more aggressive. Warnings about fines, legal action, even threats to call law enforcement if I didn't comply. Then one evening, everything escalated. I was alone at the cabin, doors locked, when I heard knocking. I looked through the window, and there were two men in what looked like police uniforms. My heart sank. I asked for their identification through the door. That's when things got weird. Their badges looked off, and they wouldn't show me real IDs. Something didn't add up. It was clear these weren't real cops. But why would the HOA go this far, to send fake officers to intimidate me? It was beyond anything I expected. I called the real police immediately and told them what was happening. That's when they decided to set a trap, waiting just around the corner. I had no idea if this was going to blow over or turn into something much worse. The tension was thick, and I knew this wasn't just about property rules anymore. It was about standing up against something bigger than me. After I called the real police, the situation got even more intense. The officers arrived quietly, taking positions nearby without making a scene. I remember feeling this mix of relief and anxiety. Relief, because help was there. But anxiety, because I had no idea how the HOA would react if they realized the trap was set. I kept thinking about why the HOA would risk so much just to scare me away. Was this just about some property rules, or was there something deeper going on? What made it even stranger was the behavior of the HOA board members themselves. A few neighbors who once seemed friendly suddenly stopped talking to me altogether. I overheard whispers about how I was causing trouble and breaking the community spirit. It felt like I was becoming an outsider in a place I was supposed to call home. The power struggle wasn't just between me and the HOA. It was spreading through the whole neighborhood, dividing people and creating tension where there used to be quiet respect. At the same time, I started digging into the HOA's history. I found out they'd been involved in some shady dealings before, charging hidden fees, pushing out homeowners who didn't fit their ideal image, and even bending rules to benefit a few select families. The more I learned, the clearer it became that this wasn't just about a deck or mailbox anymore. This was about control, money, and who gets to decide what's right in the community. Meanwhile, the fake cops incident caught the attention of a local journalist. Suddenly, my story wasn't just a personal battle, it was becoming public. That added a whole new layer of pressure. The HOA started acting even more aggressively, sending more letters, threatening legal action, and trying to intimidate me through my neighbors. But through all this chaos, I knew one thing for sure. I couldn't back down now. The fake cops, the threats, the broken neighborhood, it was all leading to something bigger. The real question was, what would happen when the trap finally snapped shut? Would justice win, or would the HOA's influence crush everything? Answer was still hanging in the air, and I was stuck right in the middle of it. Days passed with this heavy tension hanging over me like a storm about to break. Every time I looked out the window, I expected to see those fake cops or worse, real ones coming back to the cabin. I stayed alert, watching the road leading in and out, wondering what the HOA might try next. The silence around the lake felt different now, like it was waiting for something to happen. The neighbors who once smiled now barely met my eyes. Some whispered behind their hands, casting nervous glances my way. The atmosphere was thick with suspicion and fear, and I could tell many of them didn't know who to trust. The HOA's grip on the community seemed tighter than ever, but at the same time, cracks were starting to show. A few brave neighbors reached out, quietly sharing their own stories about unfair treatment, about being bullied by the same people who sent those imposters in police uniforms. Inside my cabin, the walls felt like they were closing in. I was exhausted. From the constant watchfulness, the calls with real police, and the pressure from the media attention, I couldn't shake the feeling that the HOA was planning something bigger, something that would finally force me out once and for all. My mind raced through every worst-case scenario, but there was no turning back now. I had to be ready. Then, one night, it happened. I heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps on the gravel driveway. I peered through the window, heart pounding, and saw two figures approaching. My first thought was panic, but then I saw the flashing lights, the real police. They moved with purpose, eyes sharp, ready for whatever was coming next. The fake cops from before. They were nowhere to be seen. But I knew this was just the calm before the storm. Everything I'd feared was about to come crashing down. The HOA had crossed a line they couldn't uncross, and now the law was here to hold them accountable. But what would that mean for my and for the community that had become a battleground? The moment of truth was right around the corner, and I was caught in the middle of it all. Just when I thought the worst was over, everything took a sudden, unexpected turn. The real police, who had seemed like my allies, revealed something I never saw coming. As they started digging deeper into the HOA's actions, they uncovered not just petty disputes or fake cops, but evidence of something much darker beneath the surface. Hidden financial records, secret meetings, even threats that went beyond neighborly disagreements. Suddenly, this wasn't just about my cabin or the HOA trying to control one homeowner. It was a whole web of corruption that reached far beyond the quiet lake community. That night, as officers questioned some of the HOA board members, the atmosphere shifted. I felt the tension rise in the air, thick and suffocating. Some neighbors looked shocked, others scared. The people I thought I knew were suddenly cast in a new, sinister light. And then came the biggest shock. One of the fake cops wasn't just an imposter. He was a former police officer with a history I hadn't known about. It explained how they managed to fool some neighbors, but it also raised new questions. Why was someone with a badge, real or not, involved in this? What was their true role in all this chaos? Meanwhile, the HOA wasn't backing down. Instead, they started pushing harder, sending aggressive legal notices, and threatening not only me, but anyone who dared to speak out. It felt like a dangerous game of cat and mouse, and I was right in the middle. The community was divided, with some siding quietly with the HOA out of fear, and others rallying behind me, hoping to see justice done. As the police investigation deepened, I realized this battle was far from over. The fake cops, the secret agendas, the divided neighborhood, it was all part of something bigger, something I never expected to face when I bought my lake cabin. The tension kept building, and I knew that whatever happened next could change everything. The stakes had never been higher, and the final showdown was fast approaching. The day everything came to a head was like living in a thriller. The real police